Hello?
Okay, we hear you, Donna.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Hi, Donna. My name is Bonnie, and I'm introducing you. But since I don't know that much about you, could you just tell us your full name and where you're from?
Sure. My name is Donna Charlevoix, and I'm with the GHOU program, and I'm connecting to you from Boulder, Colorado at the University Corporation for Atmospheric Research, UCAR.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
So I hope that everyone is enjoying the day, and I hope that I can provide a little bit of insight into the GHOU program. I've got a lot of background slides because I'm not really sure how much of you know about the program and what we've been doing. But as I said, I'm actually in Boulder, Colorado. The headquarters for the GHOU program is located at UCAR. And some of you may be familiar with NCAR, the National Center for Atmospheric Research. UCAR manages NCAR. And so the GHOU program is one of the programs that's here. I wanted to give you just a brief overview of the program. And the program's been in existence for well over 15 years, and this is the brainchild of former Vice President Al Gore. And he felt that one of the best ways to preserve the planet and to get students interested in science was to actually engage them at a young age. And so he developed the GHOU program, and GHOU stands for Global Learning and Observations to Benefit the Environment. So for 2 years, between 93 and 95, scientists and educators designed the program. And so it's unique in that it's not a science education program, but it's a program that does both science and education and links those two together. When we started, it was the U.S., and they recruited a couple of countries, 32 countries. We are now up to 111 countries that are actively working in the program and integrating it into their own national curriculums to some extent, and in other cases it's sort of an add-on to their curriculum. Just so that we're all kind of aware of the goals, the main thing that the program wants to do is get students to understand the environment from a scientific perspective. So they want to actually use science to understand the environment around them. And as a result, hopefully we develop more informed science citizens. And one thing that you'll notice right now, probably especially in the United States, not so much in Europe and other parts of the world, is that there's a lot of skepticism about science in general. And so this is a way to help people at a young age understand that science is really just integral to their everyday lives. So our overall vision is to actually connect students and teachers with scientists and their parents and others in the community to improve the earth, to benefit the environment. And we do that, like I said, through engaging students in local environmental projects, something that's locally relevant. It connects them with a scientist, and then they start to connect to each other in different schools. And I just wanted to show you some examples. Very recently, we had some GHOU students actually who were invited to the White House last year as part of the recognition of science fairs. Some of you may remember President Obama greeted a couple dozen students, and some of them were actually doing GHOU projects. In 2010, for World Water Day, which is a UN initiative, we asked our students from around the world to explore pH, and we have a set of instructions or a protocol where students can go out and actually measure the pH of their local waterways. And they all measured their pH, and the image that you see in the top right corner there, the blue dots are all the places where schools measured the pH, and then they shared that information with each other. And so they started to learn about their local environment and then branching out globally. Our program is supported across the board by many groups. We get our primary funding from cooperative agreements through NASA and NOAA. The National Science Foundation provides scientific support, so they fund scientists to work with the program. And the U.S. Department of State actually coordinates bilateral agreements with the governments of the 110 countries that work with the United States. So there's actually a formal agreement between each country and the U.S. that country will support the program and integrate it as they see fit in their country.
Okay, ask a question, Donna?
Yes.
Carl. Yeah, how does that State Department connection work? That's very interesting.
Yeah, so like I said, at the beginning, when the program was first developed, it was developed actually out of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, which is the science branch of the White House. And you can see the founding agencies on that second row also included EPA and Department of Education. And so when the program was first conceived, they actually decided if they were going to make this an international program, they were going to have to get formal buy-in or approval, if you will, from the governments of other countries. So the U.S. Department of State is providing that, along with NASA. NASA OIIR, the Office of International and Interagency Relations, I believe, is they also work with the State Department to develop those bilateral agreements. We have in Globe Management, which I'll show you in a minute, we actually have an international division. So my counterpart that does international, and she helps to make sure that those bilateral agreements get renewed. So she works with the State Department and NASA. And then NASA, because they do a lot of work around the world, they're kind of helping to actively recruit new countries. And so when a new country is interested, they start discussions with our international group and the Department of State and try to get a formal agreement in place.
If we don't mention your name, is it okay if I email your contact at Department of State?
That would be fine. Sure.
Great. Yeah, so if you can email me that's
okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Sure. So you can see our current sponsoring agencies, our founding agencies. We actually I just got back from Washington, D.C. last week. We had our annual meeting where representatives from all of various countries come together and we meet face-to-face. We had representatives from about 30 countries, a total of about 200 participants, but 30 countries represented. And part of the reason we had the meeting in Washington, D.C. was to garner a little bit more support within the federal agencies. I understand the work that you all do is not quite as steeped in the government process and policy, but one of the inherent challenges with that is that as the political winds blow, so does the support of the program in some respects. So the early 2000s was a little bit more challenging for the program because the administration had a different view than the current administration has. So we're trying to get the Department of Education and EPA kind of back engaged with us. And then, of course, we have a lot of collaborations with different organizations from around the world, and you can see some of the logos there of the groups that we work with. There's also a lot of work that's done more on a regional level and a local level. So for particular countries, and those really aren't represented. This is sort of the larger headquarters collaborations that we have. The management structure that we have for the program is that we're funded, like I said, through cooperative agreements based out of Washington. We are working to develop out we have a new director on board 7 weeks ago, and one of his initiatives is to actually create a 501c3, so a nonprofit arm that would allow us to diversify our funding. So right now, our primary funding comes from the federal sponsors, and that funding supports the headquarters, the Globe Program office in Boulder, where I'm located, and this is where we have our administrative office. I'm the head of the Science and Education Division. We run our website from here, and we have program evaluation. And UCAR is a very nice home for it. In addition to being in Colorado, which is quite nice, it's just a great resource because there's so many scientists with NCAR and other groups that are doing Earth system science education and outreach. And then we also have our international division, which works with the State Department to to make sure that we have those bilateral agreements in place. We have a help desk, so we have an email address and a 1-800 number where people can call in to get some help. And then I'll show you in just a second here, we actually have regions. So we've divided the world up into regions in order to kind of better manage it. And our North America regional office is located in Texas. So we have, like I said, we have 111 countries. They're divided up into 6 regions, mostly geographical, a little bit political. We have some countries that are kind of in a different region even though they're not geographically located. North America, we have Mexico with our Latin America and Caribbean, simply because the Latin America Caribbean is primarily Spanish speaking, so it fits a little better there. And then we have, there's an elected representative from each region that serves on an advisory board, and they advise the office that I work in terms of what's happening in the international community. As I am in Boulder and working in Boulder and guiding the research and development of the science and education, I can't possibly know what's going on everywhere in the world. And so these 6 people are kind of the mechanism by which I get more information about needs and challenges or things that are happening in different parts of the world. Over the years, we've trained over 54,000 teachers in GLOBE, and those represent over 23,000 schools. The last 5 years or so, it's become clear that the program is more sustainable if we train 2 or more teachers in any particular school, because then they have someone to kind of work with and collaborate with. And I'll show you in a minute, we have cross-curricular materials. So Earth System Science can be used actually as a baseline for across the curriculum, and so you can actually train the science teacher and the math teacher together. One more word about the international aspect. These are all the GLOBE countries that we have. As I said, they're implemented through bilateral agreements. And we have a model that your group may be interested in, that when the program first started, the GLOBE Program Office did all the training, and it quickly became unsustainable because so many countries and so many teachers. And so what we've done is we've created a Train the Trainer program. So we have a set of core master trainers who understand the program and who go out and actually train trainers that are locally situated, and then those trainers actually hold workshops for teachers. So my office and the group that I work with is actually technically 2 layers removed from teachers in the classroom. And what that does is it allows us in the GLOBE Program Office to make sure that we have a framework of materials, and then those materials can be adapted locally. And so a lot of the things that come out of our office get modified and changed. And because we're getting down to the local level, it's easier to connect with scientists, because scientists working on local problems can then connect with schools and teachers. We are moving somewhat slowly, but we are moving into really the Web 2.0 world where we're not just delivering content to students, but they're actually starting to create content and share with each other. And as we speak, NASA is helping us redevelop the globe.gov website, which will have strong Web 2.0 capabilities so that scientists and teachers and people from different countries can all connect with each other. We have a lot of inter-country and inter-region projects. One that is really quite impressive and very strong is that GLOBE is a partner with NOAA and the National Marine Sanctuaries to sponsor Ocean for Life. And this brings a group of 15 students from the Near East, North Africa, Middle East region to either the Florida Keys or the Channel Islands, and partners them with students from the U.S. And they learn about the ocean as a connecting point for life, and they also learn about each other's cultures. Asia Pacific's doing some similar things on a smaller scale. Africa is actually connecting with students around the world. Each September they do a hike of Kilimanjaro. They take some students up, but then they blog about it as they're hiking the mountain, and you can track them on Google Earth and where they're going. So we're trying to use the technology to reach the students and kind of be a part of their world. The GLOBE community is really made up of the teachers, the scientists and the students. The program